Hello, my name is Daniel Kukir. I'm here to show you a small demo of the Node Pool Manager component for the CHOReOS project. So in this demo I will show you how to use the API we've created to instantiate nodes in the cloud infrastructure. So to instantiate a node in the infrastructure, you do a REST call to the API. So I'll do these calls. So I will do a first call in the nodes URI. I'll do a get in the nodes URI. Oh, sorry, the server is not running. So let's start running the server here. So now that the server is running, let's do a get to the API. And it will respond with an empty list of nodes. So in this moment I don't have any nodes. So here's the response with the XML with there are no nodes yet in our infrastructure. So now I'll do a post in the same URI, but a post. So by default I need to provide a node object with some properties, and I won't use any property here. So I could, for example, put CPU or image ID for to instantiate a specific image in the cloud infrastructure. But right now I will do just an empty call, and it will create a default node with all default configuration. So I'll do a post, and this will take a long time, so that's why I'll do a 6,000 seconds. I think this will take something about 5 minutes to create the node and configure it. So here it is. So it's sending the request. Now while the request is being processed, let's take a look to the environment. So here I have the server, and the log said that the node is being created. If I go to my Amazon, which is the provider I'm using right now, if I go to my Amazon console, I can refresh here and see what's going on. So nothing's going on because the node is not running. So if I list all the nodes, I will have this pending installation. So this node is the node, and now it's running. So if I filter just for running instances, here it is, the node. And if I go to my log, note that the component waited for SSH access to the machine, and once the access is ready, the node started to be configured by the chef, which is the configuration management tool we are using to configure the node. So this first node is being created. I will do a second call, so a second node creation call. Let's copy this here and another post. So I will create two nodes, just for example, and the two node requests are still being processed. The first one is almost ready, second one is just beginning. And looking at the logs, I can see the second call here. And while the nodes are being created, I'm going to explain how the nodes are being configured with the chef tool. So every node by default is configured as a PIDOS ESB node. So I run this recip written in chef DSL, which includes everything that the node needs to have to be an ESB node or on an ESB server. So basically it installs the Java, then MySQL server, then it downloads the Petals DSB distribution from this link, and but it downloads just if the file is not in the server. So the second time I run this configuration, if the zip file is already there, it won't download. Then installs the unzip package to run the unzip command down here to unzip, and then it creates the Petals configuration. The topology.xml is a file for configuring the ESB server. So in this server will be configured in a way that the first server will assume the master role in the ESB topology, and the other nodes will assume a slave role. So I will always have one master and many slaves, and once I add new nodes, this will automatically be configured. So let's take a look. So this, let's close this and come back to my request. So the node is still being configured, both of them. So to implement this, I'm using JAX-RS technology. So here is the code for the nodes resource, and also when the node is ready, I have the node resource, which returns the node's details like IP address and other stuff meaningful to the node. So this code is covered by tests. We have unit tests and also integration tests. To make it work, you need to configure your you need to have an Amazon. Oh, here it is. Now I have the response from the web service, which took a long time, but it's ready. So let's put this window here. So here is the response. So the node is created in this location. So if I go to this location and do a get request, I will have all details about this just created node. And here is the IP address of this node. I have the IP address, the host name. So I will do some SSH access to this node just to show that everything. Oh, well, I didn't copy the IP. Sorry. And here it is, the node. If I go to the opt directory, which is the default directory to install the Petals, which I configured, this is configurable. And here is the Petals, and if I go to the conf directory, and here is the topology XML, and note that this node is in the subdomain 1, which is right now the only subdomain we create, and it is the master node. So here are all the configuration for the master node. So the second node, I think, is still being created. This is the first one or the second one. Now I don't remember. So let's take a look again. I think this is the second node creation. So the second node is created. So we have two nodes created. If I go to the second one, so this was the get for the first one, this is for the second one. So when I get the details, so this is the IP address of the master, so the first node will always be by default the master node in the ESB infrastructure, and here is the second node IP address. So let's access it. And the IP address this is the first master, the second one slave. Let's run a chef client to update this node configuration. And now it is. So here is the master node. The master node is the other one, this one. So this is the IP address of the master node, and the slave one has the configuration for the master. So I have the master configuring the slave, and here is the slave configuration. So just by adding new nodes, every node will have this configuration, its slave and the master. Once I start the chef, once I start the DSB, this information will be updated dynamically once the dynamic mode in the DSB automatically discovers new nodes, new servers, and replicate the information to the other servers. So let's start the server here as a sudo user startup. So I'm starting the master node. It will take some time to start. Let's wait some minutes. And here it is. The server is up and running. Now I will do the same in the slave. So let's just copy this startups command here. Go to the slave node and start up. So I just forgot to start in a demo as a demo. So I'll do a background so I can see what's happened with the topology. So the topology right now in the server, as you can see, there's just one server, the master one. The second is being initialized right now, and the slave server is initiated. If I take a look at the topology, it's going to be updated in a few seconds. And let's check if the topology is updated. Here it is. So right now in the server I have the topology, the master node, the master server, and the slave server. They are both here, automatically added using the dynamic configuration for the dynamic mode in the domain for these petals. And let's do some calls to our API to see if the nodes are there. So if I do a get in the nodes, it will list all the nodes created till now, which In this moment there are 2. So let's close these responses, and here is the response. Is not formatted, but it's easy to see. There's a nodes, then one node here and the second node here, and all nodes details, IP address, the image, the host name, the state that is running, and later other information will be added to this response. If I have this is the ID of this. If I want to have details about this node, I just do a get in this URI, as we saw before. And I can also, if I want, destroy the node by doing a delete call in this URI. So if I go to my interface here, you can see that the node I just deleted, it's being shut down and will be removed from my infrastructure. So this is a small demo, and this work is still on progress, so there are many things to improve, but the API is a prototype and is a working prototype. If you have any doubts, you can take a look at our website. So the delete response is ready here. Take a look at the CHOReOS Middleware GitHub website. So there are many links here because the whole middleware has many components. So the component we are working, and the component I just showed to you, is this one, the nodepoolmanager component, and all the code is under this directory. And the chef repo is the directory for the configuration of nodes. So there are the rest of the code as I showed before. Here the configuration for installing PDOs and configuring topology, etc. is in this account. So thank you very much for watching, and see you later.